Okay, we are, I guess, wrapping up the book on flow. I think we had lots of great conversations so far. And so, any sort of final thoughts? Maybe we can share a little bit about what are you guys planning to do with the newfound knowledge about flow?
Ladies first.
So I think when was this book written? Excuse my 1990.
1990.
And here we are in 2023. And we're facing into a lot of uncertainty, as I mentioned in the introductory, why I recommend this book. We're facing into difficult, and there's a lot of challenges, and which tend to cause psychic. What the flow author talks about is psychic disorders, right? That our mind has, because of the chaos that's happening outside of us, there's an opportunity for it to cause internal distress, internal disorder of the mind, and what flow offers the opportunity of, and creating the conditions for flow, is to create order, and in that creating of order, we find freedom and we find liberty, so that we can be happy, or we can be content, or we can find ways of coping and navigating all of the changes with a stronger sense of self, with courage, with resilience, with fortitude, that's independent of everything else that's happening around us. There are a lot of things that we can't control. And I think that a lot of the techniques and the thoughts that are offered in this book really create that framework through which to help work through how we relate to change, how we relate to all of the things that are happening right now. So it's really made me think about how I'm structuring my life.
Yeah, and to kind of take from your conversation, which from your points, is the fact of how closely connected we are, how we're connected to our environment, how we're connected to each other, how we're connected to external events, like the close integration of who we are. And so for me, my biggest takeaway is understanding and knowing that, but then also making sure that I'm setting realistic goals for myself, controlling the things that I have control over, and knowing that, right? And then also knowing that I can, within myself, in a group, small group, big group, we can all have flow as we work together, right? As we are integrated within each other, right? So knowing that I can create flow within myself, knowing how to get into flow, knowing how to concentrate, knowing how to set goals, knowing, just knowing how to be within my own mind and controlling myself, enabling me to get into flow, so that my work, so that the fun, the games, the things I do for enjoyment are all in a flow state. Maybe not 100% of the time, but I think this is the big thing. I think that what this book does is, we all experience flow, but we're not experiencing flow 100% of the time. We might be achieving flow 10% of the time, or 20% of the time, or when we're doing certain activities, playing certain games, or doing certain work functions. But what this book does for me is it gives me the tools and the resources to enter into flow a majority of the time. And so if I can walk away from this book and this conversation increasing the percentage or living my life in a more optimal manner, then that's what I'm looking forward to from this book. Yeah.
And just add to that is flow is not about work, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the book also talk about you can be in flow when you are enjoying a meal.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing is that you slow down and really enjoy the meal, and not just stuff it in and be done with it, right? Is you truly enjoy the meal, you taste it, and you can maybe even think about, how can I make this better? Yeah. How can I make this food even better next time? Yeah. Right? Relationship, right? Enjoy the relationship, get into flow, and how can I think we talk about the relationship should get more and more complex as we develop that relationship, right? So that is also can be a part of a flow activity there, right? So for me, yeah, I mean, the next little while, hopefully I can take the framework that he talked about, right, all the different components of how to get into flow and start applying in my life. We read a number of books, and one of them is Atomic Habits, is how to structure something so that it can become a habit in our lives. And now I think this is kind of take it to another level, is how can I string together a whole series of activities, whether it's work, whether it's just for enjoyment, relaxation. Can I apply this framework in all of those things so that I can have a continuous sort of flow, in a flow state?
Yeah.
So maybe we can share with everybody in a couple months.
Yeah.
And see how we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the great things that both of you touched on is that flow isn't necessarily just a state. It's like the framework around it. It's a way of life. It's not just he talks a lot about personal agency and personal autonomy and control over your consciousness. But then he talks about the self-consciousness part of it can really be an obstacle to flow. So we've got to take ourselves out of that. So we are part of the flow of Earth's momentum. We live within a culture, we live within a society, we are part of relationships where there's a flow. So it's also, flow necessitates us thinking of the bigger sense of who we are versus this ego, right? Actually, ego is deleterious to flow. It could inhibit flow. So it's seeing our environment is hurting. And so being in flow with the environment is the awareness and recognition that we have to be congruent with that, right? And congruent with each other and part of each other. And it's really, we can take all of the complexity and all of the uncertainty and we can order it. And I think that is within our grasp, and it makes the challenges and the perspective of those challenges much different when we have some control over it. Not to say that we control the entirety of momentum. And it's also the recognition that there are some forces that are greater than us, like the environment and the spin of the earth and the universe. So definitely perspectives and perspectives within perspectives that have really expanded my way of thinking.
Hey guys, of course we are the M3 Collective. Please don't forget to like,
comment,
and subscribe.
By doing so, you'll receive notification when we drop new videos.